Well, here we are at the supermarket where Dan's class visited the other day. I thought it would be a good idea to speak to Stefanie. Now, Stefanie is the public relations and charity coordinator for the store, and I'm going to go in now and speak to her about Dan's visit and how it was coordinated and what she needed to do before the class came, and what she did subsequently to that when the children were at the store. Stefanie, thank you very much indeed for inviting me to the store today and for discussing with you how the store actually accommodates groups of children on educational visits to find out about food and about the store itself. Could you tell me about the context of the store first?
Yeah, sure. It's we're based on the edge of the town of Bedford, and we have an area of Brick Hill and an area to Putney, but also heading out down the A6 for the villages. So that is a wide area of customers.
Yes, it is. Yes, yeah. And has the store been here for very long?
I do believe it's 25 years this year that this store has been opened. Previously, we had a store in the town centre.
Yes.
And it moved out here, 25 years.
Right, and things have obviously changed quite a lot. You've actually got a store opposite as well, and you've got a very busy roundabout as well to contend with.
Yeah, lots of roadworks as well.
And of course, lots of roadworks at the moment. All change. So tell me, what is your role at the store?
Well, I'm the charity coordinator and PR ambassador, which is a very big umbrella, really. Mm-hmm. Basically anything that is to do with a local charity, if they need help with a raffle prize, or a school that is having an event and wants a bit of support. For example, I supported a local primary school with their walk to school week, with every child walk to school every day that week. They could come in and see me. I visited the school with some water and pieces of fruit, and then they were rewarded with that in the morning when they arrived.
Sounds very healthy.
Yeah, try to be.
So you were also a charity coordinator as well. So how does that work?
If you're a local charity based, in the vicinity of Bedford, and you're having, a summer fair or a Christmas fair, and you want a raffle prize, or you're having a launch of something and you want wine or something like that to give to the people that are coming, then you would write to me as the first contact, and
and you have a specific budget. I
have a budget for the year, and I have criteria that we have to fit. So I try and help as many people as possible.
Yes, well, that's useful to know, isn't it? Okay, and how do you thinking about the children coming into the store, how do you think that affects their learning?
On a personal level, as a parent, I think it's brilliant, because life in general is a learning experience for them. So, it doesn't all happen within the confines of the classroom or even the school building itself. So anything that you can do that is outside that engages them, I think is a brilliant opportunity for them.
When the children go around, have you suddenly thought to yourself, that's interesting, they've learned something different or new today?
Yeah, some of you listen to some of the questions. I mean, we've got very experienced deli staff that we're talking to them on the meat and fish and the deli counters. And, it's like simple questions like, what do you think this piece of fish, what did it look like originally? And, some children only see fish as fish fingers. To see an actual whole fish and to see them have their eyes open to that was just...
That's right, start off with a fillet of fish and say, well, actually this came from a big fish.
Yeah, they stood there with a piece of salmon and went, but it came from one of these with the whole one, and you can see on their faces how mind-blowing that is.
Yes, the photographs actually show the fish counter, and I know the lady very well.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great, thank you very much indeed. So, what sort of provision do you actually have to put in place so that the school can arrive, knowing that they're going to be safe, and also the sort of educational experiences that will have?
Yeah, well, I would have met with the teaching staff beforehand. I know they pay a visit into the store to check the layout. They had some where would I find tea bags, and the children were looking down the aisles to find where things come. So they planned that. There's also the risk assessment the school would have done for themselves, but then our in-store ones that we use for the employees as well as visitors would have fed into that as well.
Can you give an example of the sort of health and safety aspect?
For example, your high-risk areas such as the bakery and the deli counters, obviously you can't go behind the scenes because of the risk of contamination, the risk of injury, anything like that has to be taken into consideration, especially when you're dealing with children.
Right. When the teachers have completed their form, their health and safety form, do they send it to you before they arrive?
To have a brief look through,
you have a quick look to make sure that it accords with what your health and safety
like where I can
regulations
take them and things that were okay, because we've got obviously big walk-in freezers which we have to adhere to the rules of how to use that as employees. Obviously I can't then send in a class of 30 children to
no, of course you can't. No, that's right. Good. And so we're talking about other sorts of provision as well, because there's activities once the children get involved with, which we'll have a look at in a moment. But could you sort of quickly describe what those activities are?
Yeah, it depends on what topic they're doing, and I would try and fit into what it is they're learning about. So if it's about like where their food has travelled from and they're looking at air miles, I would, do an activity like print off a map and have them look at the labels on the food to see where that came from. Can they locate it on a map? So it's not just the food, it's the geography bit that they're learning as well. If they're learning about the different food groups and how much carbohydrate you should eat in a day, how many portions of fruit and veg, then you can put together different tables of the children and having different food groups. Then I would hold up a carton of milk and say, which group does this come into? And then, see if they can answer.
Oh, very good.
Seeing how it fits in.
Very good. Do they have some sort of tasting opportunity as well?
Yeah, we, again, the deli staff helped with that. They provided some cheese and some meat and I think it was like olives and things that, we had like the cheddar that most children and ham that most children are familiar with, but we also had something a bit different. So we had some blue cheese, we had olives with garlic with them, we had like the little chicken tikka pieces and stuff like that, just to give them like different tastes that maybe they wouldn't experience.
Well, they wouldn't normally experience that.
No.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll stop there and we'll just have a look at all the bits and pieces you've got over behind us. Okay. Thank you. You've got some apples over here, I see.
Yeah, this one was the food miles and how far their food has travelled, that it doesn't just magically appear in the fridge overnight, but getting them to read the labels so they can see which country their food has come from. Anything from Great Britain has got the Union Jack on the back of our packaging.
Yes, of course.
Which obviously helped to give it away. But then the ones that are from a bit further afield, like these are from Chile. So it's getting them to then look on the map, and then they would write like apples on South America, so that they'd write carrots across Britain. I had blueberries from Peru, bananas from Africa.
Right, yes.
It's
very partial to blueberries, so I always notice where they come from.
It's a child's easy, they like to eat that sort of thing, like grapes that are from Spain. Yes. So they, can they identify those areas on a map as well as what the food is?
Good. Okay, that's fine. And what do we got? We've got over here some protein.
The protein. As I've brought eggs with me today, but I would have had like a packet of ham.
Yes.
Maybe like a packet of sausages.
Yes.
Can they identify that any meat and fish would be protein, but then that can also go into beans. So I think I had a tin of chickpeas and baked beans to see if they could.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Protein comes from not just the obvious bits.
Yes, and over here we've got dairy.
Yeah, so I brought milk with me today, but I also, on the time when the children were here, I had some cheese and some yoghurt.
Yeah.
They were very good with dairy. That was the easiest one that they found to identify what came from that. I think they kind of went, if it goes in the fridge, it's dairy. to their vegetables, which obviously still count towards their 5 a day.
Yes.
And I brought some I had sultanas and dried apple rings and things like, just to make them think again a bit further than a banana or an apple, pear, that kind of thing.
Yes, and over here we've got carbohydrates.
Yeah, again, So I bought porridge oats, but at the time I would have had pasta, had a loaf of bread,
Yeah.
rice, noodles, anything that they're pretty much familiar with in their diet.
Mm.
And they all just had the understanding that's where their long energy comes from.
Great.
It's what keeps them going throughout the day.
Could you tell me about the art project at this school, or that you're running at the moment?
Yes, I've teamed up with local primary schools again to kind of brighten up our cafe wall, because we've got a large expanse of white that looked a bit boring compared to our old decor. So I've given local primary schools, if they were interested, I've given them a theme that goes through seasonally. At the moment we've got Harvest Festival up that was done by a school.
A local school, yes. Yeah. Okay, so obviously these children have arrived and you've taken them round with the staff of the school as well. During that time, have you experienced any highs in terms of, oh, that's brilliant, I'm so glad that the kids have experienced this?
Well, the whole experience really, because they just looked so happy at being probably outside of the classroom, but they were also, what they were learning was literally right in front of them in real life. You know, it wasn't on a screen, it wasn't in a book, it wasn't just being talked about. They were actually living their learning then. And with online shopping, I guess many of them don't go to a supermarket that often, so it's a novel experience.
Yes, it's almost 2D. Almost.
Yeah, well, they, funnily enough, really enjoyed going through the warehouse, which is obviously a part that people don't normally get to see. It's just, you know, you might glimpse it when the door's open, but the fact that they were going into it, I had one child say to me, "Are we going into the forbidden bit?" And he was so excited that he was going somewhere that his mum wouldn't go when she was doing the shopping.
Excellent. So I suppose they can then make a link with the lorries coming into the store, what their job is.
One of the groups I had, there was actually a lorry that was being unloaded at the time, so they were able to go into the, not the yard again for high risk issues, but they went into where we unload it. So they saw the sheer volume of the food that's coming in. You know, it's not just 10 tins of 8 bits, it's thousands that come in at one go.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
And while they're here, are there times of there must be some sort of stress about, or worry about the children being kept safe, but are there sort of any lows, if you like, of the process?
Not really a low. It would have been wishing they could have stayed longer, because they had so many questions, but obviously they've got a time restraint. They had to get back on time for lunch, but you know, some of them could have stayed and talked about their food and what they had for tea and what they were going to do next for hours, I'm sure. So it's a time pressure thing more than anything else. But that's great. Now, as a co-ordinator, and this is a recent event that has started the school, which is great. How, thinking about the visits which have been here recently, those groups of children from the school, is there anything you would change or adapt slightly differently in the way the children experience an educational visit here? If I'm going to do food tasting, I've learned I've got to do that last, because they get so excited about trying all the new things that they then didn't really want to do the where in the world does it come from. So on the second visit that I did the food last, which had a much more better impact, I think, for them, because it was just that rounded it off for them, as opposed to the high being in the middle. It built up to a high at the end for them.
Well, that's a great idea. Well, thank you very much for that. And have you got anything else you wish to add?
Well, on the back of the success of the ones I've done, I've had other primary schools that have inquired about coming down, so I should be running more of them in the future.
You're going to be quite busy then,
It sounds like it, yeah.
Stephanie, thank you very much indeed for today's
welcome.
talk. And I look forward to going to look at the art pictures next.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Cheers.